How's it going, Top Forest TV? My name is Jack and welcome to my video giving my thoughts and a little bit of a roundup, if you will, to the January transfer window. So the transfer window has closed officially 23 minutes ago. I have sort of held off doing this video a little bit, just waiting to see if any more transfers will be announced by the club. We are heavily linked, and in some cases people have said that we've already got it sorted, a deal to get Jonathan Panzo in. I don't know how much for, whether it's permanent or whether it's a loan deal. I've seen, some people say it's a loan deal, some people say, it's going to be a permanent. So I'm not really too sure on that. I was just waiting to try and see if I could get confirmation, through the Twitter and that sort of thing. But nothing's really come through yet. You'll notice I'm just looking over to the side here. I've got the list of transfers in and out from the winter window and the Forest Twitter up on my screen here. So I'm just looking across a little bit, just in case you see me looking away, not looking directly at the camera. So in terms of the transfer window, I think it's been a positive one for Forest. I think we've highlighted the areas that we need to improve, and I think that we've definitely gone out and done that. We kept key players, kept Worrell when people were saying that he could have been going to the likes of Villa, the likes of West Ham. There was Premier League teams named to be after him and to be interested in him. But I don't know if his injury helped that at all, helped the fact that we managed to keep hold of him. But I'm really happy that we managed to keep hold of him, and obviously the main one being Brennan Johnson. I think that's an absolutely superb bit of I don't want to call it a bit of business, but it's absolutely fantastic work from the club to make sure that we can keep hold of him at least to the end of the season. He's one of our key men, and he's such a good player, such a big talent, that if we lost him, it could put a real dent in our potential playoff hopes. So keeping hold of him and keeping, Brentford at bay, even though they came in with really tempting offers, it's a real show of ambition, a real show of, just the hunger to succeed. Previously, and I know sometimes we weren't in the best financial situation, but we had Ollie Burton, for example, and he was ripping it up at the start of the season, and then he went, Antonio went, I had to go, Somalonga had to go, Cash had to go. There's been so many players we've had over the past decade, if you will, that have had to be shipped on, and it's been a real lack of ambition, I guess you could say. But really keeping hold of him has been superb, and something that really shows sort of what we're aiming to do and what we're looking to do at the club, really, what sort of direction we're looking to go in, and what our sights are aimed at. So I think also being able to get Jed Spence until the end of the season, making sure that his loan plays its full length, I think is huge. I've seen reports saying that Tottenham are putting a £15 million bid, which was rejected from Middlesbrough, for him. If bids are coming in like that for him, it's going to be really hard for us to keep hold of him. I'd be absolutely ecstatic if we could, but I think it'll be very difficult unless we go up potentially. But then again, Tottenham's a mouth-watering proposition for him, so it's important that we I guess try and show intent to keep hold of him. But if clubs are coming in like that for him, it's going to be really hard that we do that. But I think it's really important that we have kept hold of him for this season, kept hold of him and kept hold of Brennan. And hopefully, if we do go up, they'll play a really big part in that, and we can look to try and keep hold of them. But in terms of the players in, players out, that sort of thing, in terms of players coming in, we've got Richie Laya in from Toronto. That was, according to Transfermarkt, looked to be £118,000. £118,000? £118,000. There we go, £118,000. That's cheap as chips. No, £818,000. Not really seen too much of him, so I can't really comment on that too much. I'm guessing he's coming in to be a bit more of a backup potentially to Lowe and offer him a bit of rotation if Lowe's still not fully match fit. You look at the week just gone where Lowe played against Derby, then had to be dropped against Barnsley. I think Laraya was on international duty, so he couldn't slot in. But if he was there, he could have come in, and it could have been a really good sort of replacement. And I've seen a few people comment on his performance against the USA the other night, where they were saying, some of them were saying he wasn't very good and his position was all over the show. Others were saying a really passionate display and really helped get him going forward. So, on Twitter, it's really hard to really get a good opinion on things, especially with Forest fans, because some can be very reactionary. I mean, we lost against Cardiff and people are saying that Yates is not even a professional footballer, that we need to sign 5 players on deadline day or we've got no chance of even getting in the playoffs. They can be very, very reactionary. So I think it's hard to really base it on that. And I've not really seen it myself, so I can't particularly comment on that. But in terms of what I've heard, he's a really passionate player, loves to get forward and that sort of thing. So, he looks like he's going to be a good player to swap and switch and change around with Max Lowe, and I think, we got him on a permanent. We needed to get in a backup left back. Obviously, Bong wasn't performing to the levels required, and Asai Tutu was injured. Lowe was injured at the time. Colback had to come in and play left wing back, left back, depending on the system. So yeah, I think pinpointing that area and bringing someone in, someone who looks to be a good signing, someone who looks to have a lot of plaudits around him. I think that's really good and a really good show of what Cooper wants to do. He wants to look at an area, assess the situation, find someone who maybe no one's really heard about before, and brought in Richie Lyle, and hopefully he can be a successful signing. And like I say, a position we needed to pinpoint, a position that we really did pinpoint. Steve Cook, 30-year-old in from Bournemouth on a free transfer. I think that's fantastic. A fantastic bit of business. I think that was really, really good from Forest. Maybe not someone that I would have thought to have brought in, but we've got him in, and he's been really, really good. Apart from the Cardiff game, when I think most players had an off game, I think he's been fantastic. I think he's been someone that's brought a bit of experience to the back five. He's slotted in superbly. He's really been that missing piece to a jigsaw that we have been craving really at the back. Alongside Worrell and McKenna, he slots in there superbly. And, at 30 years old, you might be thinking that sort of players at that age are starting on the decline. But for players like Cook, his ability to read the game, his ability to know when to, well, I was going to say know when to dive in, know when to not, but he gave away a penalty needlessly diving in against Derby. But knowing sort of what's the best option in that situation, whether to step out, whether to stay back, that sort of thing, and his experience to coach some of the youngsters along the game, to give advice along to likes of Worrell, the likes of Spence. I think it's huge, and I think it's, really, really smart bit of business to get him on a free. He's, at Bournemouth for 10 years, and 5 of those years he was in the Premiership, so he knows what it takes to get up, and he knows what it takes to stay there for a sustained period of time. So I think that signing is a really, really good signing. Offers, important, sort of experience that back 4, back 5, depending on the system, and again, someone who's a really, really good quality for this division, and someone that I think we've done really well to bring in. Next on the list here from Transfermarkt is the player that actually came in today, and that is Sam Surridge. He's coming from Stoke. They haven't put a fee down here on the website, but I've seen things around £2.2 million. I can't claim to know too much about Surridge. I know that he has worked with Cooper before, and he was a name when he was younger that was being bandied around as a player who could potentially maybe play for England in the future. Someone who, has the ability to be a good goal scoring striker. Someone that maybe could could play in the Premier League, and he's found himself at Stoke City. I think he was at Swansea maybe under Cooper. Yeah, it would have been Swansea under Cooper. I think he'd been at Bournemouth as well. I think he came through at Bournemouth. So obviously with Grabban coming off injured yesterday against Cardiff, we would needed a striker, because I don't know how long Grabban's out for, but to get in a striker with championship quality, someone who's a tall striker, quite powerful, I think that's a good bit of business. Like I said, I can't really claim to know him too much, but he's 23 years old. He has a lot of time to grow, and with Cooper and the way that he likes to use players that he's used before, he's got obviously a good track record with younger players. He can really help him to come through, really boost him in terms of that. I think it's a good signing, to be honest with you. I think a few question marks over him, but I think Cooper and Murphy know what they're doing, know who they want to bring in, and know why they want to bring them in. So I think that's a really good signing, and I don't really see too much wrong with that. Potentially we could have gone for Marcus Forss from Brentford. I've seen a lot of people going about him, but I think that'll probably more likely be a loan than a permanent. And we got Surridge on a permanent, so hopefully he can push on and show why Cooper's put faith in him and brought him in, and prove the fans wrong. Obviously, fans were questioning Spence coming in, and look how good he's been. So I think we got to give him time and see what you can do. There's no point sort of writing him off before we've even seen him kick a ball. Another player bought Aston Villa's Keenan Davis. Obviously, we know all about Davis. He's been really good since coming in. We needed sort of a backup striker for Grabban at the time, and he's been really, really good on loan. So far, I think he's scored twice now. Scored against, obviously, Cardiff yesterday, and against Barnsley last week. Was a real handful against Derby. He's been a real handful in the games he's played. Really caused Arsenal a problem. He's looking good, and hopefully he can kick on and continue this good form and keep going. But yeah, really happy with Davis, and I don't know how likely it'll be we can get him in the summer, but I think a smart bit of business from Cooper. He knows how to get the best out of young players, like I say, and I think that's a good bit of business. Also on Transfermarkt is the fact that Javi Arta's come back from loan from Charlton. I don't know if there's no nothing on here to say he's gone out anywhere else. Touch quickly on Arta. I think he might be kind of done at Forest, to be honest with you. He showed in spells why we got him in, but overall I don't think it's particularly really worked out for him. So, yes. Moving on to the departures, we have got 5 players who have departed the club. 2 of those going out on loan, 1 permanently going, 1 returning back to his club, and 1 being a mutual termination of contract. I'll touch on the player who's gone back to his parent club in Jordi Asaya Tutu. Really disappointed about that one, really. Such a shame, because I think he's done, he showed in the minutes he got what he could do. Obviously, you look at the Swansea away game, I think he was really good in that one. I think that would be the only game he played a full 90 minutes in. I think he looked promising. He did quite well up for one of the goals where he got himself quite high. This shot wasn't the best, but it caused a problem for the keeper and allowed Brennan to score from close range. But it's a real shame for Jordi, because he showed good potential in the minutes he had, but he just couldn't keep fit. He had that injury that he had such a layoff for, and then came back, played a match, and then the next game got injured again. So it's a real shame for him. I think he's gone to Rotherham on loan now for the remainder of the season, so hopefully that goes well for him. Hopefully he's able to rekindle a bit of consistent game time. Hopefully he's able to keep that going, but unfortunately it didn't quite work out. A couple of injuries that it wasn't really worth the payments that we were giving to Arsenal for us to keep hold of him, so we did take him back. It's a bit of a shame, but good luck to him in the future. Moving on to the player who has gone without a club. He's been mutually terminated in terms of contract, and that is Rodrigo Eli, someone that came in the summer that didn't play a single second for Forest, didn't kick a single ball in a professional match. It's a real shame for Eli, because he came in, he moved to a completely new country, came into Forest, and I think he came with an injury. I think he had an ankle injury, if I remember rightly. And never got over it, never really got to the level of fitness required to be in the first team. And, unfortunately for him, he's had to be released. He's made a statement on Twitter saying that he, just training with players isn't what he wants to do. He wants to play football. He's not happy if he's not playing, and fair play to him. It could be, he could just come in, take a pay package, get fit, recover from his injury and that sort of thing. But he wants to go. He's hungry to play, and at 28 years old, he's probably got, as a defender, maybe 8 years left in him. So he's probably in the middle of his career at the minute, or sort of coming towards the last stage. But he's still got, a decent amount. You see players in that position who play, a long way into their mid-30s. So he needs to try and get himself fit, try and get himself playing first team football, try and get himself injury free, and he's got that decision whether to stay at Forest and potentially not get to where he wants to be, or go somewhere and find a club where the fitness levels match what he's got potentially, and something that might work better for him. But unfortunately, he's had to go. I think it's probably the best for both parties. Someone off the wage budget and someone who's not really contributing to the club, and someone who's happy, or not happy, sorry, in the current situation of not playing games. If he can go and find somewhere else, good luck to him. In terms of the loan players going out, one being Lyle Taylor. I think he just needed a bit of game time. Wasn't really working too well at Forest, so he decided to go to Birmingham. He has worked with Lee Bowyer before at Cardiff, at Charlton. So he knows how to work with them. And in his debut, he scored a goal away at Pride Park. I really like Lyle Taylor. As a player, he's not always got the credit. Well, not the credit. Not really got the plaudits. Not really. There's not really been too much praise for him. And, coming from myself as well, I've been critical of him sometimes. But, he's off the pitch, the work he does with charity and everything's fantastic. Hopefully, if he comes back after the loan spell, he can have a bit more confidence in him and he can be a lot better. I think he's shown in, like I say, in fits and spurts that he is a good player. That penalty to start off the incredible scenes at Bristol City, Coventry last year. I think he scored against Wickham as well. He has shown in spells what he's capable of, but unfortunately it's just not worked with him. And if he can go out on loan to the end of the season, get some much needed game time, it could help his confidence and help him to push on and push forward in terms of his goal scoring. So hopefully he gets the business done at Birmingham, and hopefully he can get a bit more confidence and come back and be back in the first team. As for the other player going out on loan, it was Carl Jenkinson, someone who's not really played for Forest. Probably, I think the last game he played was that 5-1 drubbing against Swansea in the FA Cup last year, a game that I want to etch out my memory for the rest of my life. He wasn't really great for Forest. I don't think he was bad per se. Never really got much of a chance. Came from Arsenal on loan, and just never really got a go. To be honest to him, there was always better players in that position ahead of him. Cash and now Spence. Someone that probably you'd be forgiven for forgetting was even at the club. To go out to Melbourne City, completely different thing for him. He didn't really get the game time at Arsenal he wanted, and that sort of thing. So moving to the other side of the world is a different opportunity for him, a different chance, a fresh start. Hopefully, for him, he can have a good rest of the season, and potentially this loan deal could become permanent. Maybe the only stumbling block on that could be wages. Players like Jenkinson come in from a Premier League club that they've kind of fallen out of favour at, come with a high wage, have to go to a club who will offer them a decent offer, decent alternative, and then it's hard for them to shift them off and that sort of thing. So, maybe he could move on in the future. Maybe it's a case of he just keeps going out on loan and that sort of thing. But hopefully for him, he can, rekindle some bit of form and get some game time over in Australia at Melbourne City, and he can enjoy himself in terms of playing football again. I hope he can. I've got nothing against the bloke. Didn't really play much for us. I think it was a bit of a pointless transfer, really. But hopefully for him, he can do well in Melbourne. And then the final player who were departed from the club in the January transfer window was, well, as some people call him, the Portuguese prince. It's Joao Carvalho, someone who, on his day, is absolutely incredible. You look at the Middlesbrough game under O'Neill. You look at, I think there was a Sheffield Wednesday game under Karanka. Under Karanka, I think in games he was brilliant. There were matches where he really showed why we paid £13 million for him, why we paid a record transfer fee to Benfica. I think he could be brilliant, but that day just didn't come often enough. And I've heard reports that, when Sabu dropped him, he just didn't really seem to care. Sabu wanted players knocking on that door, asking why he wasn't playing, what he can do to get in the first team, get on that starting 11 on the what's the word? On the team sheet. There we go. I went blank for a second then. On the team sheet. But he just didn't seem to do that from what I heard. He wasn't interested in doing that. He didn't want to sort of work hard to try and prove the manager wrong. Got another chance under Houghton. Didn't really work all that much under him. Cooper gave him a go. Didn't really work under him. It's a bit of a pattern, really, of managers giving him opportunities. It's not really working. He's not really delivered what we know he can deliver. He's gone to Olympiacos on an undisclosed fee. A few Derby fans being absolutely pressed on Twitter, saying, "Oh, how is it fair that he's gone to a club also owned by the manager for this much money? Of their selling their flops." I don't know how much he's gone for. It could be £2 million. Could be 10. Who knows? I don't know. But I think it's probably good for him to have a fresh start, try something new. Didn't really work out for us, and it's a real shame because he had such a high amount of potential, and loads of people were really expecting him to really take the league by storm. I thought he could have been fantastic. One of my friends supports Leeds, and at the time they had Samu Saiz, and I was sort of hoping he would be that kind of player, someone who was a real catalyst for Leeds, Samu Saiz, someone that got fans off their seats, and was someone that was adored by the fans. And yes, Carvalho was adored by the fans, but he didn't really show on the pitch on a consistent basis as to why he deserved to stay, and why maybe a move away wasn't the best thing to do. And I've just seen on Twitter, Nottingham Forest have confirmed Jonathan Panzo has come in for an undisclosed fee. I'll chat about that quickly in a moment. But touching on Carvalho again, I think it could have been better. It could have been it could have worked out better for him, and I'm a bit disappointed it didn't. He had such a fanfare around him when he came in, but unfortunately it didn't quite work out. And I think a change of scenery and something new could offer him the opportunity to really show what he can do. He was loved by majority of Forest fans, and I hope the best for him. So yeah, just quickly touching on Jonathan Panzo. I do realise this video has gone on for a very long time, so it's a Nottingham Forest are delighted to announce the signing of defender Jonathan Panzo from Dijon for an undisclosed fee. Welcome to the Reds, Jonathan. So yeah, there was talk to it being sort of a loan deal, and I know Luke, who sometimes features on the channel, I caught a little bit of the Red and White show. Unfortunately, I couldn't join it today due to one thing and another, but he was a bit confused about that because we already have 5 loans, and I think in the Championship we can only have a maximum of 5 loans, but we've got him here on a permanent, and yeah, I think he's a young defender, worked with Cooper before in the England youth setup, an Englishman coming back to England. Obviously, he spent a lot of time in France. I think he was at Lyon, maybe. But we got him from Dijon, a second-tier team in France. And I think, it could be a good signing. I think we needed him while being out until potentially early March. We could have done with a young defender to slot in there. I can't claim again to watch much of him, but I think it looks like an exciting deal. From what I know, from what I've heard, he's quite a quick defender, so someone who can slot into that back three or back four, depending on what we want to do. But I think alongside Cook, he'll really help him to grow. He'll help him to nurture him and bring him forward. So yeah, I don't think that's too bad of a deal. Hopefully it's not too much money. But yeah, just touching quickly on a couple of players who we wanted to bring in that we didn't bring in, sort of the likes of Josh Bowler and Jed Wallace. It's a real shame we couldn't get one of those two in. I was really hoping we could have got in Josh Bowler. I think he looked to be a really exciting player at Blackburn. I know Bournemouth are interested, one or two other clubs, but I don't think it was too vital that we did get him in. Obviously, I want to get him in because he looks really, really good, Josh Bowler, from what I've seen. But I think maybe in the summer, if we go up, we could look to try and get him in, or somebody else, maybe a Keane Lewis Potter, someone like that, to play on the opposite side to Brennan. But because they kept Brennan Johnson at the club, I don't think it was too much of a push to try and get him in. Again, we wanted Jed Wallace, but I think the valuations for both players were slightly over what we were willing to pay, and unfortunately we weren't able to make the deal for that. I think I saw some reports saying we were close to meeting the valuation for both players, but unfortunately we couldn't quite get that deal over the line for either of those. It's a shame because I think both of them are exciting players, and those two in the side would not hinder at all. It would only add to it. But I don't think it was crucial we got them in. It would have been lovely to do so, and we couldn't quite do it. I don't think it's the end of the world. I think we pinpointed the positions we needed. We needed a left back, got one in. Needed a striker to back up Graben, got him in. Needed another striker because Graben picked up an injury, got that one in. Needed a centre back because of Worrell's injury, got that in. What else we do in terms of the transfers in centre back? I don't think Steve Cook wasn't someone that you look at the squad and said was needed, but now we got him in, you see why he was needed. So yeah, I think really smart business for Forest. I think it's a positive transfer window, one that you can look at and be really pleased with as a Forest fan. One or two disappointments in terms of maybe Carvalho going, depending on how you look at that situation, and seeing the likes of Bowler and Wallace not joining Forest. But overall, I think you've got to be pleased with it. I'm pleased with it. Out of 10, I'd probably give it maybe a 7.58. I think maybe if we brought in a Bowler or a Wallace, it would have been a 9. But overall, I'm happy with it. I think we've done really good business, and hopefully we can push on now and gain promotion. So yeah, a bit of a long one, 27 and a half minutes. Hopefully you've watched this long. If you haven't, I completely understand why. But let us know down below what you thought. Let us know who you think we should have brought in, or whether you think anyone should have left, whether you're happy or unhappy about the deals that I've done today. And smash the like button if you did enjoy. Subscribe if you are new around here, and come on, you Reds.